her mess. You could feel the energy in that room shift folks who'd spent years pretending not to notice her notes on their doors, or her weird patrols finally let themselves smile. You know what I mean? There's a kind of relief that comes over people when the town bully finally stumbles, almost like everyone gets their air back at once. But let me back up a sec, because honestly, the way that day played out was wild enough that even I, after decades dealing with head cases and corporate security, had to remind myself this wasn't some setup for a hidden camera show. See, the thing about living in a neighborhood like Cottonwood Estates is you never expect your Tuesday afternoon to unravel into some HOA fever dream with cops, drones, and a kid flopping around on your grass like he's auditioning for a soap opera. But that's exactly what happened, and all because I refused to let a bored teenager touch my Harley. Not ride it, not even turn it on, just touch it, which apparently is now a constitutional right, according to Claudia Well, professional martyr and part-time legal fiction author. I'm telling you, this woman had been looking for an enemy ever since her husband left, always needed some new crusade to keep herself relevant. This time, it was me, the antisocial motorcycle menace corrupting the youth. Never mind that the only thing I corrupted in that neighborhood was the expectation that grown men had to bow to self-appointed queens with clipboards. From the day I moved in, Claudia had her sights on my garage. You'd think I was building pipe bombs in there instead of waxing chrome and listening to classic rock, the way she'd sneak by at all hours, phone held low like she was in some Cold War spy movie. It was funny at first. Purple gel pen notes, fake citations, the infamous baby monitor stunt. But by the time Trevor started calling me stepdad in front of the HOA, even I had to laugh. Claudia didn't see the humor. She never did. She was too busy chasing her next moral panic. So when Trevor noodly arms 12 hours a day on Fortnite, never seen a wrench in his life, decided he just had to touch my Harley. He figured a butter knife was the key to my garage, and when he failed, his mother called 911 on speaker while I was talking with the state attorney about actual HOA fraud. You ever watch a train wreck in slow motion? That's what it felt like as those three cruisers showed up. Sirens blaring drone overhead, neighbors peeking through blinds. Claudia was putting on a performance, tears and all, screaming about weaponized transportation and some made-up youthful desires clause, as if my refusing to hand over my bike to a kid was the new Salem witch trials. The lead cop, Peterson good guy Sharp, had clearly seen Claudia's brand of drama before. The moment he realized who she was, he damn near rolled his eyes out of his head. "Ma'am," he said, "refusing to give away your motorcycle isn't a crime." And when he turned to me, he asked for my side, and I didn't have to say much. My phone had recorded the whole mess, and Attorney Harrison was still on the call. Peterson listened, heard Trevor confess on tape to trying to start my bike. The kicker, Harrison, being the pro he is, let the officers know they were hearing evidence of a false police report live. That's when Claudia started backpedaling, talking about community safety, claiming she was the real victim. Now the real twist. While Peterson is taking statements, his partner gets a ping on the computer. Claudia's name is flagged for 2 prior calls, one about the satanic skeleton on Halloween, and another about suspicious sidewalk chalk last Easter. Yeah, that happened. Suddenly the cops aren't interested in my chrome. They're interested in the HOA president who's been crying wolf all over Tallahassee. They pull up the security cam footage, clear as day. Trevor breaking in, butter knife in hand. Claudia lurking on the sidewalk, ready for her big entrance. Peterson shakes his head, writes up a citation for Claudia, and tells Trevor he's lucky not to be spending the night in juvie. You'd think that'd be the end, but not with Claudia. She starts threatening to call the mayor, the governor, you name it. She swears she'll have my property seized, tells Peterson he's complicit in motorcycle-based corruption, whatever that means. Peterson, he just hands her a copy of the penal code and says, if you'd like to file a real complaint, you can do so at the station with a lawyer present. By the time the circus cleared out, every neighbor within 100 yards had come out to watch. Nobody said a word, but there was this look like, it's about time. Word spread fast, and when the next HOA meeting rolled around, it was standing room only. Patricia Garrett, a board member with a spine, stood up, voice steady, and called for a vote of no confidence. Claudia tried to stall by reading from The Art of the Deal, swear to God, claiming executive immunity. She lost the vote 3-2, and her face, when she realized she'd been ousted, priceless. But the cherry on top, as part of a settlement to keep from facing criminal charges, Claudia was forced to write me an apology letter, which she attempted in Latin to sound sophisticated, came out as something like my sorry Harley daddy of sin, which is now immortalized in the Cottonwood newsletter. The whole neighborhood framed it. Trevor, banned from my property, wound up switching to skateboarding, claiming motorcycles are problematic anyway. The bylaws got a new section, no aspirational theft, written in language so specific it basically has Trevor's name on it. And Claudia ordered to pay $6,000 in fines and fees. She tried to protest, shouting that she'd sue every last person in the room, including the judge, which only landed her another fine. That was the moment right there when she realized her reign was truly over. Everyone in that courtroom, from the bailiff to the little old lady who'd never missed a board meeting in 20 years, just watched as the most feared woman in Cottonwood Estates got a taste of her own medicine. I'll be honest, I sat on my porch that night, a glass of bourbon in hand, and listened to the silence. Real silence, not the tense, walking on eggshells kind that had hung over the neighborhood for years. People were laughing on the sidewalks, kids playing kickball in Claudia's once sacred rose garden, and I finally exhaled. For the first time in 3 years, Cottonwood Estates felt like home. But, here's the kicker. Next morning, I find a note on my porch. Anonymous purple gel pen. Be careful who you trust. Power is never really gone. It just waits for the next chance. Maybe Claudia's plotting her comeback. Maybe someone new's eyeing the throne. That's suburbia, right? Power games never really end. They just get new faces. So what do you think? Was I wrong to stand my ground, or was Claudia finally overdue for a lesson? Ever dealt with a power-hungry neighbor like that? Drop your story or opinion below. I guarantee you I'm not the only one living in a real-life HOA soap opera.